Thank you, Michael. First of all, I would like to appreciate Michael for putting up a very nice conference and giving us the opportunity to speak. Uh, Maybe next year we can visit Israel and meet him, and we can have in-person conference. And I also thank Michael for listing listing my company as one of the silver sponsors. We just started our company at the end of October. Thank you, Michael. Okay, so hello everyone. So my name is Gajendra Deshpande and I am from India. I work as assistant professor in KLS Gupta Institute of Technology, India. Recently, we have also started a company in the field of cyber security. So today I will be presenting a talk on Python in education for Generation Z. Of course, we will be focusing on Python, but we are also discussing about the open source technologies which are basically used for education. Now let us discuss these uh, tools and technologies and concepts. So let us see who are Generation Z, BYOD, and how it is beneficial to education, its advantages and disadvantages. Then we'll see QPython, Blockly, Logarithm tools. Then how we can add new language support in Logarithm if it is not present. Then some future goals. So let us first see who are Generation Z. So Generation Z are the students who are born between 1995 and 2010. So these are the present students. So they are more technically sound. They are more tech savvy. More they use gadgets more frequently. They believe in learning by doing the things or creating the things. So teachers need to be equipped with the technology. That is because most of the teachers, they belong to previous generations. So we need to adapt to the new generation, understand their requirements and make the learning fun and exciting. Then I was speaking about BYOD. So BYOD stands for bring your own device. So many governments are encouraging people to or students to bring their own devices to the classroom. So the present generation students, we can call them as true digital natives because they have been exposed to the internet and social networks and mobile systems from their earliest age. So with BYOD, it is possible to create one-to-one classroom. That's because students bring and use their own technological devices in the classroom. Now some advantages and disadvantages. So benefits of BYOD are that your students know the device and it shows that technology has got many possibilities and they can get cutting edge devices to the classroom and it is cost effective. You do not have to invest in the infrastructure. Then learning outside the school hours is possible. You can develop the app and just ask your students to install those apps and you can monitor everything through those apps. Then respect for the device because they own the device, it's their device, so they care for the device. And it also results into organized set of students because they can make their own groups and they can interact among themselves. So recent and we see that for each classroom in our institute only we see that students have created the WhatsApp group for their classes and they interact among themselves in that group. Then disadvantages of BYOD are that students without devices is possible. That's because some students may not be able to afford even the minimal device because of their economic condition. Then one more major problem we face is the different devices with different configurations. So in a class, we cannot guarantee that everyone brings Apple phone or everyone brings Android phone. So there will be a mixture of devices. Some people may bring costly devices, some people may bring entry level devices. So in that case, it becomes difficult to install all the apps. So some mobile phones may not support the specific apps. So in that case, learning may not happen effectively. Then distraction. So whenever class is going on, they need to keep their device in the silent mode, or we need to ensure that they are not interacting with the device. Say for example, if it is a smartphone, then we need to ensure that they are not checking the messages or they are not chatting with their friends or some other people. It may also result into not responsible student. So most of the countries listed here, like Austria, USA, Estonia, Australia, Finland, and other countries, they have got the policies for BYOD. Also in India, there's a body called as AICTE, that is All India Council for Technical Education. They have tied up with the Cisco DevNet for securing and increasing the productivity of BYOD devices in the classroom at schools. Now let us see some applications which will help us to learn Python using these BYOD devices. So there's a mobile app called as QPython. It can be installed on mobile phone and you don't need actually the laptop. So you can type a program on the mobile phone and run it on mobile phone. Of course, you may not be able to do very sophisticated problems or programs, but you can do most of the things which are required for a basic programming class. So what is QPython? It's a script engine which runs Python programs on Android devices. It also can help developers develop the Android applications. So what are the advantages? You can develop the applications easily. It includes complete development kit, which help you to develop programs with mobile. It is powerful. You can extend it as you want. And also, if you want to develop commercial applications, of course, it's available with QPython API or embed QPython SDK. Now, when you install QPython application on the mobile phone, when you open it, it will look like this. Unfortunately, I will not be able to connect my mobile phone because I don't have Android phone with me now. But this is how the user interface looks. You can also download it, or if you want more information, you can visit the website, that is qpython.com. Now, it supports various features. That is, you can run a Python program in the on a terminal or on a Jupyter notebook, or you can create a file and run it. So on this slide, you can see here that there's a terminal on which I have written a small Python program. I've created a string and stored the string as hello cube Python. And in the next statement, I'm saying str star 3. So when I run this, it will print hello cube Python 3 times. Then similarly on the right hand side, you can see that there's a Jupyter notebook, which is supported by QPython mobile app. So you can import any Jupyter notebook and you can run the program on the Jupyter notebook on your mobile phone. Specifically, if I have to say Android phone. The next application is the Google Blockly. So it's a library for building visual programming editors. So it's a library that adds visual code blocks to mobile apps. So it uses interlocking graphical blocks to represent code concepts like variables, logical expressions, loops, and more. So it allows users to apply programming principles without having to worry about syntax or intimidation of the blinking cursor on the command line. Then from user's perspective, Blockly is very intuitive visual way to build a code. So from developer's perspective, it's a ready-made UI for creating visual language that emits syntactically correct user-generated code. So it can export blocks to many programming languages. So specifically JavaScript, Python, PHP, Lua, and Dart. So we can see one example here. So if we go to the site, yeah. So you can see here there is a ready-made example. You can drag and drop any block here. So if I go to logic, you can see various logical blocks, right? If I just drag and drop here, automatically it will generate a code on the right hand side. Okay. So you can drag and drop a block here, and side by side you can see the generated code. So by default it generates the code in JavaScript, but you select Python here, so it's going to generate the Python code. Now when you click on run, it will show the output. So it has printed hello 3 times, right? It's a very interesting tool, because I consider it as very interesting, because in developer countries, or in those countries where English is not a native language, in that case it's a very useful tool. Because what happens is, many people do their education or they receive instructions in their mother tongue, especially their in their school education. But once they graduate from their school, then they may enter the college, and in that they may learn the things in other language such as English. So in that case, it creates a problem sometimes. So if such tools are used, then they need to just worry about the logic. They need not have to worry about the errors and syntax of the programming language, and they can start building the applications. So advantages of Blockly are, it's the code is exportable. Users can extract their block-based programs to common programming languages and smoothly transition to text-based programming. So once they are comfortable with the problem-solving approaches, once they are getting the results, so their confidence will be boosted, and they can do much better in text-based programming. Then it's open source, so you can fork the repository, you can hack it, you can add your own language support. So you might have seen that it supports at present only 5 languages. You can add a new language support. You can even customize the blocks. So if some blocks are not required, then you can remove them. And if you want new blocks, you can add them. It is highly capable. It's not a toy. Okay, you can implement complex programming tasks like calculating standard deviation in a single block. Then it is truly international. That's because it has been translated into 40 plus languages. When I say 40 plus languages, these are not programming languages, these are human languages. So including right to left versions of Arabic and Hebrew. Okay, so this demo we have already seen. Okay. So next tool which we will see is the Logarithm, which is a very interesting tool again. It is a formal tool and it can be easily incorporated into the curriculum. So that's what I feel, because whenever the computing course is introduced, first thing we ask students is to draw the flowchart. So Logarithm allows us to draw a flowchart, and it can convert the flowchart into a code in a specific language, and that can be executed. So flowcharts can be executed. So it's created by Professor Devin Cook. It's a free beginners programming tool that is based on simple graphical flowcharts. Typically, when a student first learns to program, they often use one of the text-based programming languages, depending on the language. So this can either be easy or frustratingly difficult. Many languages require you to write lines of confusing code just to display the text hello world. So that you can avoid by using Logarithm, because you are drawing the flowchart and executing it. So by using flowchart, you can concentrate on programming concepts rather than all the nuances of typical programming language. You can also run your programs directly in the Logarithm, because code generation facility is given. So once you understand the programming language logic, it's easy to learn any major programming language, and you can anytime convert the flowchart into a source code. Okay, so it supports code conversion in C Sharp, C++, Java, Lua, Perl, Python, Ruby, and so on. But if any language is not supported, then you can easily add that support to Logarithm. So advantages are, it's very easy to understand the output. So graphical variable watch window is available. Then interactively, you can generate the real code in 18 plus languages, including Python. Safe recursion is supported. Loops, arrays, and flexible expressions are supported. Then multilingual support. That means user interface is available in various languages. You can draw flowchart in your own language. So these are the symbols supported by Logarithm. So we have got input output symbols. Then we have got variable symbols for declaring variables and assigning values to the variables. Then we have got control statements for defining or the decision control statements, and also the function call symbol. Then for repetition structures, we have got looping statements such as while, for, and do. If you want, you can also put breakpoint. You can also insert comment into the flowchart. So this is how the code looks. So this is a very simple program which compute the sum of first 10 numbers. So here the input has been provided as 5. So it has added first 5 numbers and displayed the output as 15. So we can create a very simple program here. Yeah. So this is the basic interface you get. So we can change the structure here. So I'll select this, that is code and console. So by default, it will generate the source code in pseudocode. So let me add some statement here. So I'll print hello. So you can see here it has converted the code into pseudocode. You can also select a language. So these are the languages supported. So I'll select Python. So you can see here it has now generated the Python code. So to print a message, we need to put it in double quotes. Yeah. So now if you run this, it will run this code and it will show the output. Yeah. So you can see here at the bottom, it is showing that result is hello. So similarly, we can create one more small program. So let me declare a variables a, b, and sum. Okay. I'll initialize sum equal to a plus b. Then finally we can print the sum. So instead of accepting the values, I'll directly assign them here. A equal to 10, then b equal to 20. So I have written a very small program here. So you can see here as and when I am adding the block in a flowchart, so corresponding code is generated on the right hand side in Python. So now if I click run, it has to show me the output of 30. Yeah. So you can see here it has shown me the result 30 and also the hello message. Now if you see the output here, if you see the language list, July is not supported. So for that, we had created a Julia language support. So you just need to create a grammar file for the language which is not supported by Logarithm and start using it. So it will start generating the code in that particular language. Okay. Hmm. So you can say this is the Julia language code. So you don't find much difference between Python code and Julia language code. Okay, so instead of print, now it is println. That's because it's a Julia language code. Now how we did it is, there's a grammar file you will get on Logarithm website. So I took the template file of Python and started making the modifications. So instead of name, I wrote Julia, then extension was JL, then Julia keywords were added. Then is it case sensitive? Yes, it is case sensitive. True. Then literals were added. So function ID, function syntax was added. Variable syntax was added here. Okay. Then expressions were defined. Operator precedence was added in this file. It's very easy to edit. You get a similar text file, and based on the language syntax, you need to just add the grammar to the template file and save it and start using it. Okay. So this is for string concatenation, then integer addition, integer subtraction, then multiplication, division, operations were added. Now you can add the built-in functions, and if the built-in functions are not supported, then you can also write the user-defined functions here. Okay, say for example, these are the built-in functions available, so you can directly use them. But if some function is available, like sine function, if it is not available, then you can write the functions here, and that can be used. Then define the function called syntax. Okay. Then define the syntax of if statement, function block, right? And array syntax, then syntax for or grammar for looping statements. Okay. So once everything is defined, just save it. So extension will be .fpgt. Okay. So that's a template file for Logarithm. And whenever you want to generate the code for that language, you just need to select this grammar file and code will be generated in that language. So advantages of Logarithm are it's very easy to use, drag and drop features are there. So corresponding code generation is possible. It is very beginner friendly and a very great tool to learn problem solving. Disadvantages are that code generation is limited. For example, multidimensional arrays are not supported. Then language specific features. So whatever this feature you are seeing here, dot star, it's known as broadcast operator in Julia. It is not supported by Logarithm, and presently it supports only Tamil language in India. So we need to build support for additional languages. So this we have seen. So future goals are add Indic language support to the Logarithm. Then you can customize Blockly for more languages. Then you can also go for code visualization tools. Then more gamified tools are required to enhance the learning. Thank you.